Hello, how are you? I'm Matthew, host of Truth from the Booth on Phoked Up Radio. Thanks for making space for me and my guest on this first day of summer. I first met Jacob Lawrence at Grand Parade Square in the winter of 2023 during the Red Tent protest. I watched him get arrested on that property in February of 2024. Then he vanished. Within the last few weeks, we've reconnected here in Halifax, and this conversation picks up from where it left off over 2 years ago. In this 55-minute conversation, Jacob, who was 25 years old, opens up about his early experience with drugs, the path that brought him to where he is today, and what life looks like now. We'll talk about health, healing, and the reality of what he sees unfolding on the streets of Dartmouth and Halifax, the struggles people face, and the human stories behind the headlines. We'll hear about a typical day in Jacob's world and how he stays focused on a positive path and the importance of having a strong circle, those people who become your safety net when life gets heavy. We'll discuss what makes life good, the power of surrounding yourself with people who bring positive energy, and why being mindful of who you walk alongside can make all the difference. And of course, there's music. We'll find out when Jacob picks up the guitar, why those strings matter, and how creativity can become a lifeline. We'll also shine a light on those doing the work, the people in services making a difference by showing up when it matters. Plus, we'll get to know Jacob a little better with the important questions. Apples or oranges? What's the ultimate sandwich? And cats or dogs? My revealing conversation with Jacob Lawrence contains mature subject matter, including talking about hard drug use. Have a listen to this, and I'll be back shortly with Jacob on FokedUpRadio.com. Abandonment sleeps first, curled in doorways and policy gaps, while blame walks past with its hands in its pockets, eyes fixed on anywhere but here. The night carries an energy, not hope exactly, more the hum of survival, a fragile current running from breath to breath, from cardboard to concrete. Compassion arrives quietly. It never announces itself. It sounds like a cup of coffee set down without a lecture. A hand up offered, not a handout. Good deeds done in the margins where cameras don't look. Love still lives here, somehow, in shared cigarettes and names remembered, and the way people watch each other sleep as if guarding a small, borrowed peace. But everything feels illegal after dark. Existing, resting, being seen. A bench becomes a crime. The tent becomes jail time waiting to happen. Even stillness can be arrested. Death lingers, patient and polite, counting winters, counting overdoses, counting the moments no one made it back by morning. And yet, each day is momentous because survival is not small, because choosing to wake up in a world that keeps walking past you is an act of defiance. This is not failure. This is endurance. This is what it looks like when fragility learns to stand, when love refuses to leave, and when compassion, even cracked and tired, keeps showing up anyway. Jacob, thank you for doing this.
You're welcome, Matt. It's good seeing you again.
This is going to be, well, I really don't know what this conversation is going to be like. It has been something that's been in the works for like a year.
Something like that, yeah.
Just to let the audience know, and I mentioned this in the intro to the show, Jacob and I first met fall, winter of 2023.
23, yeah.
Grand Parade Square.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I would like to pick up from where that left off. Like, what has transpired in Jacob's life in the last 2+ years. So what I've done, and the audience knows, I've gone through Jacob's social media, but I've just come up with a who, what, when, where, how, and why. And we're just going to get to know Jacob a little bit more, his lived experience outside in tents and all the trauma that comes with that. So where would you like to begin this conversation? You want to kind of give people a handle of who you are?
Sure, yeah. So my name's Jacob Lawrence. I'm originally from Windsor, Falmouth area, and born in Kentville. But I lived a pretty normal childhood. Mom and dad were together for most of my life, and then they divorced in 2015. So things were kind of different then as they were when I was younger. So they got along pretty good when I was younger. Mom and dad had their problems and stuff, and they divorced. And yeah, I guess like I never even smoked a cigarette until I was 15. Like I was a good student. Like I was a straight A student and stuff till grade 10. First experience with drugs was when I was 15, right before high school. I got a nicotine vape, and it was kind of. Actually, I remember it's funny because it didn't even have nicotine. It was just like just a curiosity thing. What would that be like to try it? And it was so simple at the time. It was just a vape. It didn't even have nicotine in it. It was just like try the whatever, just to try it. So that was first. And then one night I was invited into a garage and I smoked weed for the first time. I didn't really do anything at that point. But then I tried weed again, and it actually did do its effects to a very, I suppose, maximal capacity, because I had no tolerance for it. So I felt it was like an out of body experience. And then I remember my first day of high school was when I was offered a cigarette and smoked that. And then that was where my addictions issues began, really, with cigarettes, because, well, now I'm addicted. So it's like you don't start out addictive, you're addicted, you get kind of sick and lightheaded, and you don't even really like it. It tastes terrible and whatever. And then over time, though, the nicotine, like, it does something to your brain. You always want more of that, because it starts to create a calming stimulant effect. And then, like, your first time, though, you're going to get the spins and cold sweats and feel terrible. But over time, it becomes like a calming feeling. And that's sort of like what addiction becomes, is like you use it to, if you're doing bad in life, you'll want to do your substance to feel better. And if you're doing good, you'll still want to do it because you feel good and you want to feel better. So I guess like cigarettes was kind of the start. And then, like, I suppose I tasted alcohol, but I was never drunk until that winter. It was my first time, and I was like, you're supposed to be 19 to buy alcohol. I was 15, and I was able to get alcohol easily back home from like whoever was like older people, because I hung around people that were older, maybe not good influences. So like people would give me alcohol. I remember my first time getting drunk was with somebody in a truck, and they handed me the rum, and they told me to just drink some of it. So I drank an excessive amount and ended up falling over in a ditch and ended up passing out, because I never got drunk. So that's what it felt like. And again, it was another out of body sort of feeling. And but then it always progressed. Like it got, like, it went from me trying alcohol to becoming later in life pretty much dependent on it. Like, I mean, like, marijuana was something that was different. Like, wasn't really a dependence. I just kind of, I don't know. I guess I was kind of young to really appreciate what it was really doing. At the time, it just felt kind of relaxing, and it felt like kind of thing to do, because all my friends smoked weed at the time. Most of them, pretty much all of them did. So it was something I kind of just did with friends, and it really didn't have the effects that alcohol. Alcohol was something that was like became a big problem, because like when I was drinking just like a couple beers, I could still kind of be myself. But if I started to overdo it, which I did every time pretty much, especially like at some of my high school parties, I was always trying to be the most like messed up one there. So, like, I would do everything to excess. So I'd smoke the most weed, drink the most alcohol, chug the most beer, and always be embarrassed the next day of how I behaved. Like, I just act like an idiot, or end up getting punched, or holler at somebody, or just go nuts because I'm not really in reality, right? So, but it just always got worse, and I knew then that substances weren't for me. Like, there was going to be problems with it. Like, I knew then in high school that I probably shouldn't drink like this. I probably shouldn't do this. Probably shouldn't drink at all, really. But there was always that addict inside of me that said, well, it's part of who you are. Like, but then again, like, it only gets worse. So I guess, like, leading up to Grand Parade, like, I'd been on the streets before, like, when I was 21.
What were the circumstances that led you being unhoused at that age?
Well, I guess it goes back to I had struggles for years, but I didn't have struggles with a lot of money till 2022, because what happened was I had a good job in construction in Bears Lake, and I saved all this money, and then ended up COVID had come back or whatever, and I was laid off from my job or whatever, and was basically forced to move back down the valley. And at the time I had little, like, I guess, knowledge of, like, or just, I don't know. I had all this money, and then I was laid off from work. So I was kind of, like, young and impressionable, and had more money than at the time I could do with or be smart with.
And
so
did you find people that would help you spend that money?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. So, like, it started out with, like, drinking. I moved home, and I wasn't really drinking much when I was working in the city. I drank a couple beers or whatever, but I had things under control then. And I didn't do any hard drugs then. Like, I had tried things before. Like,
what's your definition of being in control?
Well, it's where you're able to drink 1 or 2 beers, and that's it.
Okay.
You don't have 1 or 2 beers and want to drink 2 cases, basically. So that's that is what it turned into, though, over time, especially with idle time, because I had a few $1,000s in the bank, and I was on maximum EI, so I wasn't working, but I was making $1,700 a month just on EI. So as a young person, it's like, well, I should most people that don't have addiction issues are able to put that away or get their own place together or whatever. But me, it was a challenge, because I had all this access to, I had a lot of drug contacts. I was able to easily get, like, my drug of choice became cocaine at this time. I tried it a few times before, but it became a problem this year because I had the money and the contacts right there. Like, immediately. It would be like, just message buddy, drive right over. If I had usually a minimum of $100, he'd come, and then that would last me a few days, and I'd run out, feel terrible, and it was a cycle. And then basically it got more and more expensive the longer I kept doing it, and I wasn't getting the effects I was before from it. It was like, and then my nose would get all plugged up, and it didn't do it for me anymore. Like, as an addict, it was like, wow, this is getting boring. It's just the same. Like, I'm stimulated, I'm feeling all right, but, like, and then one night I had run out of my supply, and I was drunk in Windsor. I spent a whole bunch of money at a couple bars and drank to excess. I ended up at the basketball court in Windsor. I met this guy, and somehow we started talking, and basically I wanted to get some more stuff, and he knew where he could get some at 2 o'clock in the morning. And he had a vehicle, so there was 4 of us. There was 2 other guys that came met us, and we all went to Spryfield. And on the way back, I tried crack. And it was a whole different, like, kettle of fish with with when you do cocaine like powder, it's like, well, takes some time for it to kick in and get into your bloodstream. But when you smoke it, it's instantly like what you're seeking when you're doing a line. It's like it's immediate and highly pleasurable for about 5 minutes. That's why it's a big problem, because it's highly pleasurable for 5 minutes and then it's not pleasurable. It's horrible coming off it. Like it's an intense euphoria you can't explain for 5 to 10 minutes depending on how much you're doing. But then and then when you do it again, like after that time, you feel it again, but then it's lesser. And then you'll spend days or whatever, however long, just constantly trying to get that first high back, but you can't. You never will. Like, the first time you do it, that's the highest you're ever going to get. And then from then on, it's just, some call it chasing the dragon because it's an illusion. Like, you're never going to feel that, like, the first time I ever did it, that's the highest I'll ever get. And you'll never get that again. But your brain will make you feel like you will, but you won't. And that's what led me to, crack was what led me to bad problems in life. Like, it wasn't even like, it was the powder form was bad enough. I never did needles. That was something I never got into at all. But
dangerous path,
for
yes.
me, the crack was the really rock bottom of it, because I felt so gross doing it. And I was with a lot of people that were not people that me, like, in sobriety or recovery or anything would, or just myself sober would hang around. It was a totally different crowd comes in. And a lot of them, especially like long-term users, will learn schemes and ways to trick you and be your best friend if you have money, and will suck all your money from you eventually. If you stick around them long enough, they'll get you. It's just how it works with like that stuff. It's just, there's no way to like smoke it and be fully functional. I mean, some people can hold down jobs, but it's not. It just becomes like there's like the cravings for a cigarette, but this is like totally like an extreme version of that. Like, some people might get irritable when they're not smoking or whatever, but this is like a total, like, once they're addicted to it, they need that, or else they can't. They're just like, they can't function without it, or their brain tells them they can't function without it. So, but in my case, like, I kind of tried, like, I would only spend my money on it. I never was someone that stole for like my drug habits or anything. Like, I never, so if I didn't have and I had this EI money, so typically I'd binge. I'd be on binges, and then if the money ran out, and when I was done, I'd be done for as long as it took to get more money somehow. But I never stole, but I'd wait for checks, or like I'd wait for like, I don't know, any GST, or like until EI came again. So like I'd have, typically I wouldn't really go without it very much, like at this point. Like,
can I ask you, I want to ask you about your health.
Sure.
Considering all the intake, the alcohol, the drugs, the cocaine, the crack, at your age, how healthy do you feel? You obviously could be healthier, but how do you feel?
Honestly,
Jacob?
like now, Matt, surprisingly good. Yeah. Like, because one thing about cocaine and crack and stuff is that your diet, and alcohol even, your diet is terrible, or you don't eat for days, or you just don't drink water. You don't take care of yourself for extended periods, and it really will push your body to its limits. And it's the same with meth. I did a little bit of that stuff too, but not like cocaine at all. Like, something I tried and didn't get hooked on.
Isn't meth is meth as addictive as crack?
It is actually technically much more addictive.
More addictive, okay.
Because there's more, you need less to feel more. So basically, it's cheaper and it's stronger, and it takes much less to feel like better than like crack, honestly, like technically. So that's why it's more dangerous, because it's so much easier to maintain that high because you only need so much. And then, but that, it's all problematic though. But back to health, I guess, like, my health's pretty good lately. Like, I go on my morning walks, I eat breakfast like normal, I sleep good hours.
Are you able to access care when needed?
Yeah, I've got pretty good resources for that. I've got a family doctor I can call anytime. I've got some counselors that I can reach out to for whatever reason. I've got lots of friends in the recovery community and stuff too, which are good. I've got an AA sponsor now. I really do, like, a big part of my thing is, like, I gotta eat good food because I don't know, it's just something.
Everyone needs to eat proper food.
That's true.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
You need that to function.
I didn't do that for so long. Like, I would eat, when I would eat, it'd be garbage food. Like, when I was in my addiction, it would just not be, I would miss all these food groups, but now I actually try to actively eat healthy, and that makes me feel better. And, like, drink water even, because, like, you'll just, when you're in these states of, like, psychosis or whatever, you don't do these things and it will catch up with you. And one thing I'm grateful for is I still have all my teeth still, which most users won't after, especially the amount of drugs I did. Most of your teeth are just gone or burnt or just destroyed from it. Like, but I was lucky that way. Like, because, I mean, even through addiction, there was a time where, yeah, I got to go, even after 2 days, yeah, I got to go brush my teeth now. Like, it's time to do that. So I always, like, that was something I always, because I just knew, well, I'd be self-conscious, and for two, it's so expensive. Dental is very expensive, so that's very important, is dental, like, for me. Like, so that's something I'm grateful for, Matt, is all my teeth are still there, thank God.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's, you and I have crossed paths many times in the HRM, on the streets of Halifax.
Yeah.
Aside from taking some time out of your day to be here to do this conversation, what does a typical day look like for Jacob Lawrence?
Well, right now, so I've been I had a job a couple months ago at a winery down home, but I moved up here recently. I relapsed a little bit, had some issues down home, so kind of wanted to try something new, and I had some connections up here and places to kind of stay and get back on my feet again, sober and stuff. So right now, I guess, like, right now I'm currently on assistance because I have sometimes troubles holding jobs down, which is just common when you're an addict. But I want to find a new job. I've been looking around, and my cousin has actually got me a good lead doing landscaping. It probably won't be any time within, like, the next couple weeks, maybe in the next few months. He might have something for me for that, but there's other things too. I've been applying at different places, and also there's a racetrack he works at serving the catering, like they serve food and stuff there and stuff. So, like, not catering, but like just like customer service at a racetrack for, like, they serve like poutines and food and stuff. So, like, that might be something that he could take me in on, but it's not confirmed. So right now, I guess, since I'm not currently fully employed, I do a lot of exercise. Like, I still get up as if it was a work day, and I make my coffee and meditate a lot, and
play guitar?
I don't really play guitar in the morning because I live, well, my cousin's place. I gotta be super quiet in the mornings because it's just the way it is. I got people, I gotta respect their sort of quiet time. So I can play guitar in the afternoons and nighttime, to a certain point. It's just because, like, I mean, I could go out and busk, but I'm pretty shy about that. But I've done it before with the right company, but as far as guitar goes, I do it when I can.
How important is it for you to be able to, whenever?
It's very important.
Okay, why?
Because it's been one of my passions for about 8 years. Almost 9 years now, actually. I started playing in 2017. But actually, it'd be 8 years. It was 2018. I picked it up and tried it in 17, but I never stuck with it till 18 and learned how to actually do it properly, and like learn how to tune it and change strings and like
Self-taught?
well,
YouTube
partially
videos?
partially self-taught. My dad showed me a lot of the fundamentals, and then my cousin Franklin showed me a lot of stuff too. And especially with like soloing, things like that, because he played long before I did, so he showed me a lot of things. And then I taught myself a lot too. Tabs and like just listening to music a lot, and like figuring out rhythms and stuff and like timing, and then reading like these song lyrics over and over and over and practicing the chords over, and it's just practice. And then eventually I didn't need the tabs anymore for a lot of these songs. Like I've written a few songs, but a lot of stuff I do is just stuff from memory that I just learned years ago that I never forgot. It's just like muscle memory. Like certain songs most songs I know, I just play them and sing them and don't need any prompts but it took me like, you got to play that same song and mess it up a lot of times before you can do that. So that's it's just like trial and error. So, but eventually you could get a whole song and then play it every time and not mess it up.
I'm glad that you mentioned trial and error.
Yeah.
This is something I want the audience to kind of understand how you see activities unfold on the streets, whether it's here in Halifax or in Dartmouth. It looks like the Business Improvement Association, people are getting together where they want to have officers foot patrol on Spring Garden Road in July. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that? And what are you seeing with your own eyes, the activities? What are people going through?
Well, thanks for asking, Matt. That's a very good point. The streets are not, like, street life is not safe. It never was. But I just feel like in the modern time, it just seems like things are getting worse, not better, when it comes to violence and the drugs too. So the thing with the drugs is all these modern synthetic opioids, and the drugs are way stronger than they ever have or ever will be now. So we don't know like the whole effects on someone's psyche from all these new drugs. We kind of have an idea what weed does. We kind of know what we know full well what alcohol does if abused. We know full well what cocaine and meth and things do, like, but all these new drugs, we don't know the whole. So it's making a lot of these people, and a lot of medications, they're using a lot of new pills and stuff, so we don't know what this is doing to their psyche. So people are getting more unpredictable out there when it comes to drugs. Things are more unpredictable because you don't know technically you never could know even in past like what's going to set somebody off, but now it just seems like more unhinged out there. Even walking around in the daytime, like, it's bad. It is bad out there. Like, you will see all kinds of things. Just even if you're not a drug user, just walking through town, like, you literally see the worst type of behavior. Like, people get really violent, really even look at someone the wrong way. They might try to like provoke you or attack you just for looking in their direction. People get a lot of people get very paranoid from drugs. But if you just mind your own business, you get your headphones in, you're just going straight ahead, they'll say, "Oh, you look like." People get paranoid, and like especially in places like, I've noticed Quinpool's more chill. I've noticed, like, typically if I go down Quinpool, I live not far, like, so my cousin's like, yeah, anyway, so it's not far, like, it's in this general zone. I'm kind of in between Dartmouth and Halifax right now, like in that area. But like, I've noticed with Quinpool, it's sometimes there's the odd issue or whatever, but compared to Spring Garden Road, like, more chill. But like, Spring Garden Road is a mess. Like, it is bad. Like, it's, especially at nighttime, literally people's like lives are at risk. I think it's like, it's a problem, and I think it's worse now than Gottingen Street is. And Gottigen's been notoriously kind of honestly, I think it's. I think I feel safer walking down Godgin than I do at Spring at any hour, really. Like,
Well, here's my question to you
I
then.
think Godgin's cleaned up a lot, actually.
Do
from what
you
I've seen?
do you think putting foot patrol uniformed officers on Spring Garden Road is a good idea for those individuals who are sitting on the sidewalk panhandling who may not be in the right frame of mind, where they're being told to move along, move along?
There's good and bad to it.
Absolutely.
I think, like, so.
What's the good?
I'd be some friggin' nervous being one of those patrolmen because you'd be constantly threatened. People are gonna, like, the street people are not gonna like you at all.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna be constantly threatened. People are gonna want to beat you up. People are gonna want to literally, like, they react violently to authority people like that. So the more of them,
You just made my point.
I think there could be incentive for more violence, and I think it could be a problem. I think if they had maybe, I don't know. I don't have a definitive answer for that, but it just seems like there definitely could be some good. I mean, like if things are really out of control and there's like people fighting, and like they intervene, they break up the fight, save lives. That's a good thing, right? But I feel like if they're walking around these uniforms, it could just provoke more issues with people that don't like authority out there. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Right?
Let's.
That's how I feel about that matter.
Yeah, and that's why you're on this program.
It's kind of a double-edged sword with it.
Yes,
right?
And the reason you're on this program, just for the lived experience, and if you're just joining this broadcast, my name is Matthew. You're listening to Truth from the Booth, and I'm speaking with Jacob Lawrence.
Hello again.
What keeps Jacob on the straight and narrow path?
Well, a big thing for me is routine, and that's something I learned in, institutional settings and rehab, is your routine's very important. And that's what they try to sort of teach you in those places is, like, you got to have routine, or else you will fall off the wagon again. Because what happens when you're in addiction, you don't have a routine. Your life's just, like, all over the place. Like, you don't know what you're doing from one minute to the next because you're under the influence of chemicals, and like you're not really in control anymore after a certain point. But when you have a routine, you are in control. So, like, for me, it's like, well, get proper sleep. So usually now, I used to stay up on drugs for God knows how many days, or sometimes up to a week, sure, and then just be completely mentally gone. Now I try to go to bed at 9 p.m., wake up at 6:30, 6. So it's like regular sleep time, even on the weekends. It's like, go to bed. If you're tired, just chill out and go to bed. You don't have to be chasing this high where you're staying up and paranoid and things to that nature. You can just kind of wind yourself down. You feel better the next day because you're not hungover. You're not in trouble. You're not in jail. You didn't get in any fights. You're at home sleeping, wake up, have your coffee or whatever, tea, or I drink coffee every day. That's important. That's part of my routine. And I'm trying to get off the cigarettes again. That's something I always will. There's no like high from a cigarette. You're still sober there's nicotine, but it's just kind of like coffee. It's like the same idea. It's like, it is psychoactive, but it's not like you're not impaired. You know what I mean, Matt? Like, you're not impaired from coffee and tea and cigarettes like you are with, like, alcohol or cocaine or anything like that. That stuff will impair your judgment, but I don't find... Well, for me, I think part of my routine is, like, getting up early, have breakfast. I always go for a walk first thing, too. And something that helps a lot of people, like, is get a dog. Like, dogs are fantastic to have with it. Like, I wish I had a dog up here. My mom's got that was something when I got out of rehab. I moved back to mom's, and Daisy, the dog, was always there to kind of, she was one of my support systems, was the dog. It sounds funny, but it's true. Like, dogs are great for sobriety. Like, you just walk your dog, and she'll help you, or he will, or whatever. Dog. Pets are great. Exercise, super important. Diet, again, very important. Things like that, like exercise in particular, because you need to have, same with the good food, is you gotta have some way to fix your dopamine receptors that have been damaged from whatever you've been doing. So what better way than like healthy ways? Or a book, even. Books are really good. When I was in rehab, I was allowed my phone. So
Has your
on my phone, I'd be reading, right? Or playing guitar more, or things like that. Walking more.
at any point your behavior or your actions compromised your family safety net? Your family's still in your corner, yes.
I made terrible mistakes under influence. I was not really a violent type, but I would say my mind would be skewed, and I'd be not making any sense, and I'd be paranoid and accusing people of things and all sketched out and look terrible, and people knew I was up to no good and knew I was on the drugs, and I was embarrassing myself and not even realizing how bad, because you don't realize what you're even saying sometimes. So I said things that were violent in nature, but I wasn't actually going to act on them. But on the drugs and alcohol, up for days and mad and angry at the world and stuff. Yeah, I said a lot of and did a lot of really stupid things. Like I broke things and smashed windows and did like stupid things. Like, of course, like, and I had the occasional tussle with people too. Like I got in some fights, not many, but a few, drinking and stuff. And like I went to the drunk tank numerous times because sometimes police would be required because I'd be so out of control, laying on the ground, swearing, hollering at people, and people don't tend to like that. So like they're going to call the cops and you're going to go to jail for the night or whatever. But like, yeah, so like you definitely better off not doing that again. So like, yeah, I mean, honestly, I won't even lie. At this point now, I can have like 1 or 2 beer and just go to bed. Kind of learned how to like have it under control now, but like back when I was younger, no self-control, just like drink, and if I had the money, keep drinking and keep going and keep part. And then now I can kind of appreciate 1 or 2 beers and have the willpower to say like, this is it, you're good, you're at your limit, go to bed. And I can do that now, have 1 or 2 IPAs or whatever and just coast it, or smoke a joint and just enjoy that and not have to constantly be like chasing something that is just not worth chasing. Like that's what leads to trouble, is the chase factor of things. Like if you just enjoy what you got, then you're doing pretty good. That's how I look at it.
Jacob, there might be a handful of people that would say that the world seems a little unhinged. I can't imagine the stress that your generation of people are under. But that being said, what makes life good?
Lots of things, Matt. Right. Today, like just being able to have the pleasure to speak with my buddy Matt here, and having my family back, having sobriety, being in control, like eating good meals, spending lots of time with my cousin Lewis, who I was always close with as a kid, and I fell out of contact with him when I was all messed up. Like we didn't hardly, because he's been sober a long time, and like he's doing really well in life, and we were apart for a long time. We've reconnected, and he's a great guy, and we get along really good, and things like that, like just laughter and music and my friends, and like, just like being able to go on a normal date is always cool too. Like back when I was in my addiction, a date required like a lot of pregame. I had to like, okay, I gotta have a few drinks first before I could even think about doing this. I gotta have a buzz. I gotta have some kind of. That's always where my head was. It didn't matter what the event was. It's like, okay, so I'm gonna get off work. I'm not buzzed yet, but I gotta figure how am I gonna, even if I don't have the funds right now, how am I gonna figure out how to get some kind of buzz? I don't have to worry about it anymore. I could just go on a date and drink a coffee and be myself and not constantly have that monkey on my back or whatever they say, like that something has to
chirping in your ear.
I have to have something in my system to function is basically what it wasn't so much. It was at this point, I guess, like back when I was working down at the winery and like back where I'm from, like it was constantly like 2023, constantly alcohol related. Like I would do some drugs on the side on weekends and things like that, but it was the alcohol had become a bad problem. But now I don't drink hard liquor at all. I avoid that stuff. I mean, I guess like
What are some of your challenges right now?
right now,
Yeah, what are some of your challenges, Jacob?
I have challenges every day, mood swings. I go through that. What I do though is I just typically allow time for myself to like. So if I'm gonna be if I'm in a bad mood, I typically let somebody know, somebody trusted know what's up, and then I take time for myself. That's why walking really helps, and I still struggle with cigarettes, but not like I used to. I don't even smoke that much anymore. So I'll have a smoke and a coffee, calm myself down, and learn how to deal with it in a healthy way rather than just like something really bad is taking out your anger out on people around you or like objects. It's just not what you're supposed to do because it's like that's what a kid does, honestly. Like if you're going to be an adult, you got to hold in some things so you can't let the anger get the best of you. And I used to do that when I was drunk or stoned on whatever, like anger could get a hold of me and then you end up in trouble. Like you will end up in trouble if you let that. Now I let the joy and things get a hold of me instead and just appreciate life for what it is. And I just try to be like positive and it's way better that way, I find. Like I just try. It's not always easy. Like I had a moment yesterday. I got worked up over something so stupid, and then I felt so stupid, and then I ended up everything was fine. Like it was something that I just assumed, and something stupid that wasn't even right, and I just thought, and I got mad. I got all bent out of shape over something that was so dumb. It didn't even matter, and now I feel much better that it's over with, and I don't feel like that now. But I got moments. I have my moments where I'm like just, and it doesn't even take that much. I just get worked up, and then I have to learn how to manage it though, and that's what I've done. Is that's where kind of like higher power might come in. Like that's where going to a meeting is always. I haven't been going to as many meetings, but I relied on meetings when I left rehab. Like when I went for 8 months treatment in New Brunswick, I came home and I went to meetings like 2-3 times a week, like AA or not really NA because I didn't have that in the community, but AA was all over the place. So I went to those. I even went to one a couple weeks ago on God's Street, and it was great. I had a good time. I went with a buddy and drank coffee and meditated. There's a meditational element to this meeting where you had to meditate for 20 minutes, and it was great. I had a good time, and I'm glad I went. And like there'll be more meetings, I'm sure, in the near future.
I want to give you an opportunity to give some shout outs to when it comes to you needing help ASAP. Service providers in this province, are they there on the ready? What do you have to say about that?
Well, yeah, for the most part, like there are several, like one place that I sometimes had to go was the hospital. I found like, especially now with all the security measures they've taken since there was an incident at the QE2, and since then they've really upped the security. So if you are you're freezing cold, you have nowhere to go, you go to the hospital and just explain like you're going through like mental health and you don't have a place right now. And I've always found that typically I prefer Dartmouth General because it seemed just more chill generally, but the QE2 as well. I'd like to honestly save my life in a couple situations. Going to the hospital. I had a good place to sleep, and if I was really, really hungry and out of money and just tired and broken and stuff, they would at least give me something to eat and somewhere to go, and it'd be a safe place to go. Was the hospital. In an emergency, if I had nowhere else if I was too cold to sleep outside, which I did sleep outside a few times, the hospital was somewhere I could go and at least get a little bit of sleep, get a little bit of food, get woken up by the nurse around usually 6 a.m. But then again, it was somewhere I could kind of, like that was somewhere but anyone can go there anytime. You just have to be don't get kicked out. Like, don't just be nice to the staff, and they'll respect you. Like, and if you're just quiet and just sleeping. And another place that I also like to shut the Spring Garden Library. Like, it sounds funny, but like there were times where I needed a place to crash so bad. I was so tired. Didn't like sleeping on the bus very much. Didn't like sleeping outdoors. 3rd floor. Like, I slept on that couch a few times and nobody bothered me. Like, surprisingly, if you sleep outside on the sidewalks at Spring Garden, the cops are going to harass you, wake you up, or someone else will steal from you, or something will happen. Like, you're not safe doing that. You're not safe sleeping on sidewalks. You're not safe doing it. But the hospital, the library, I don't really want to shout out shelters because I never felt safe in a shelter. I mean, I can shout them out because in an emergency, yes. There were situations where I was at Grand Parade one time, and yeah, my tent was like, I think at this point the tent was gone, actually. So I didn't even have a tent anymore. I think the tent was torn down. Something had happened. Buddy went to jail, and it was just me and whatever. And there was a blizzard, a really bad blizzard. And I was down there, and the mall had shut down. It was a place I was kind of hanging out at. The McDonald's was closing. It's like, yeah, I'm out in this blizzard. So search and rescue came. And they were like kind of rounding people up, like, do you want to go to the shelter right now? We'll take you there. So I said, okay, in this situation, yes, I will. I didn't like going to shelters. I never felt safe. I never liked the crowds and like the hard drug kind of vibe and like people stealing, like the concept of like you're in a room with a bunch of people you don't know what's going on in their head or like if they're gonna hurt you or what. So I just never really did shelters, to be honest. When I was homeless, I don't know, I just felt too nervous. I just felt too uncomfortable. So I felt more comfortable in the tent in Grand Parade because we almost had a little community. Like, it was almost like the ones that kind of lived there all kind of looked out for each other. And we had, obviously, big shout out to Matt and Steve for all their efforts to help everybody there. And they put up with a lot of stuff from people down there. Like, I mean, we all did. But there were certain people, it was almost like a community. Like, we had the friend group there. Like, there was, I won't say any first names, but there was, Matt would know who I mean. Like, there were people that stuck together and helped each other out. And
yeah, there was a core group of
there was a core group in Grand Parade, like, and I was one of them, and then there was the other, like, and they all got along, and so like people could, there wasn't a lot of politics with like my neighbors because we got along. It was like a good community kind of there.
Everyone was just trying to survive.
Well, that's just it. And then at the shelter, I never felt a sense of real community. I stayed. It was like a couple months ago, actually. I stayed at the Salvation Army just one night. And I felt more like unhinged and nervous there than I did at like psychiatric. I had to do short stays at psych wards before when I was younger. I felt safer there than I did at the shelter, way safer, because I just felt uneasy and just like, and I'd been told horror stories of the Sally and stuff, but at this time I needed a place, and it was like. It seemed like, and the food was good, I will say, like, they actually, most of the shelters, the food is actually, they usually go all out for that. You'll get fed, you got clothes, you got a shower, and stuff like that, but it's just the people you're dealing with, you have to be so careful, like.
Have you had any close calls? Like, have you had any death threats?
Yes, absolutely. Like, I guess at the shelter, like, these two guys at the Sally were like, they were kind of older and they were kind of, they seemed friendly, but you could just tell they were trying to like hustle me, which is where they'll like try to like get all they can out of you and more, but they'll make it seem like they're your best buddy, like while they're doing it all at the same time. And the older guys that do it are good at it, and you won't even know it's happening until all your stuff's stolen. That's how they operate. And this happened to me on Spring Garden, like a couple weeks ago. I was in a bus shelter. I had a cigarette, and this great big giant dude, he just snatches my cigarette. I remember cigarette, grabs it, and there's a whole swarm of these people, and they're all heavily drugged out. And just there's a lot of insanity going on right around me. And I was in this bus shelter, and I felt threatened, and there was a whole bunch of them. They tried to corner me in there. So as soon as this big guy turned his back, I just freaking bolted it, like sped walk to Argyle Street, immediately left the block. Because I felt so, like, and Buddy even said, "You stand in that corner in the button." He was threatening me. Like,
Wow.
he was getting, like, mad over nothing. And, like,
I had to
just leave the situation. That was the only safe thing to do,
the
really.
smart thing to do. I've left the city on a bus because I've had a certain individual follow me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So just a couple more things. Listen,
Sure.
you have no idea how it's one thing to have a conversation on the radio, and like 99% of the shows that I've done have been, except for Mariah. Mariah Baker, I think, was at the apartment, and we did the exact same thing here.
Right.
It's such a huge difference when you can actually make eye contact and see the person that you're speaking with. So
absolutely.
Fantastic.
It's
Okay.
a pleasure, Matt.
Couple more things, and then we'll button it up here. Going back to the situation that you just talked about, you have a bunch of negative energies trying to corner you in this bus stop. How important is it to surround yourself with enlightening, positive energies like myself?
It's the most important. It's there's pretty much nothing more important. Like, if you have people with genuine intentions and love in their hearts in your corner, you are gonna be fine. Like, in life generally, like, they are going to help you, and they want to help you, and they're sincere. And like, so my A sponsor is one guy, Steve. Big shout out to him. There's many people just like Matt, and like, there's so many people that are good people out there, but you have to find them, and you have to work for. Like, you have to put in a level of work to even have the pleasure of, like, being around them, because they will help you if you want to help yourself, though. It's not like they just hand you stuff and you just continue being bad. You have to, like, work to be good, too, or else, like, they're not going to want to hang out with you if you're acting up. You have to, like, put the work in for yourself, and then you can hang out with them, and then it's cool, and then, like, everybody gets along. You have good people in your corner if you put the work in yourself, though, first.
Okay, final thing, and I just want to pay tribute to one of my favorite late night talk show hosts that is no longer on the air, Stephen Colbert. The late night franchise, it's been shelved, but he used to do something with his guest every once in a while called the Colbert Report.
Right, I've seen that.
So, and for the life of me, I know there were like 15 questions. I've just picked 3.
Okay.
So let's end this conversation just on really just answering these very simple questions.
Sure.
When it comes to eating fruits, for you, what is it? What do you prefer, apples or oranges?
Well, I guess my answer to that would be apples in the morning, oranges afternoon, evening. I like apples in the morning. I always eat an apple every day in the morning, though, usually. Once in a while, I'll have it, like, apple pie is one of my favorites. Oranges, usually I'll have one at nighttime in the evening, I find. So, depends on what time of day, usually.
Okay, because apples, you can obviously make apple pie. You can't make orange pie.
That's true. That's that. But you can have, like, the orange flavor. Like, one of my all-time favorite candies is the chocolate oranges at Christmas.
Okay. Yes.
Like, those, Mom gets me those. They're so good. Like, orange flavor stuff is orange. I like orange juice more than apple juice.
Orange juice over apple juice. Okay, makes sense.
But I when it comes to the actual core fruit, depends on the time of day usually.
Okay,
I like apples in the morning usually. It's funny.
That's interesting.
But it's true. It's I like, it's a good palate and then oranges usually I'll eat those later or some other time. But typically I gravitate because you have to peel an orange.
Yeah, and
in the morning I don't like doing that. I like to just eat the apple.
I think with the apple too, because it's a rougher texture. For me, it just kind of would clean your esophagus. I guess on the way down.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're good. Honey crisps. Big shout.
Honey crisp. Favorite sandwich.
Okay. Well, I really like chicken sandwiches of any kind. Like, honestly, if I really had to pick one, and it's kind of specific, I think one of the best ones I've ever had is Mary Brown's spicy chicken sandwich. It's good. Like, it is good. Also, the Baconator at Wendy's is good, too.
Okay.
But if it comes to, like...
Let's talk about a homemade sandwich.
A homemade sandwich. Okay, I would say I really like tuna sandwiches, honestly. Tuna salad sandwich, or... I'm not an egg sandwich guy, but I like peanut butter and jelly is always really good, too. But
Okay.
what I find when I'm at work, I tend to bring peanut butter and jelly a lot because it's so easy to make.
It's so easy to make. Okay.
Right, and they're so good.
Okay. Mine would just be a BLT, and I would be happy with homemade bread and just some mayo and some fresh picked tomatoes.
That's a good choice, too.
Yeah.
Big shout out to a BLT.
Big shout. Okay.
Honestly, I'm not fussy. I like all sandwiches pretty much.
Yeah, right. You put it in front of you, and Jacob's going to eat it. Okay, final thing, and this might be the toughest of all. What kind of pet do you want?
Okay.
Cats or dogs? What's your preference?
I like both, but for different reasons. I like dogs because a dog is like a very good companion. You can walk them, and they'll always be there for you, right? But a cat's different. A cat's more independent. A cat will still love you, but there's more space between you and the cat. With a dog, they're always kind of wanting affection. They're always kind of there. There's more maintenance. I love dogs, and I love cats. But with a cat, it's like, they just kind of look at you and meow, give you some crunchies or whatever soft food, and then they just do their thing. And you can leave a cat at, like, if you go on vacation or something, you can just put the litter and the food. I'm serious. And the cat's going to be fine, but a dog is going to
be freaking out.
You have to really have someone there for a dog, or take the dog to a kennel or somewhere for the dog to go with people around them because they get anxious easier. So basically, I guess if you want I love both cats and dogs though, but if you want a more low maintenance, pet a cat. If you want more responsibility and a creature that is more affectionate, a dog. Okay. Because dogs are more affectionate than cats are, honestly, most of the time. Sometimes cats are very affectionate, though. They'll get on my sister's cat, Leo, back home. Mom's, he always would lay on my belly. Daisy would, too. But sometimes cats are very affectionate, but dogs tend to be very affectionate with their owners. So it all depends on, like... It just depends, I guess. Like most people, I don't know. I guess I love cats and dogs is my final answer.
Final answer.
Yeah.
There's no cash prize for that.
All right.
Jacob Lawrence, this is, we've known each other for several months now.
We have.
It's just, I'm glad that our paths finally crossed. We had the opportunity to sit down here at the lovely Central Library in beautiful, historic Halifax, Nova Scotia. Jacob Lawrence, thanks for doing this.
Matt, thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And now for something completely different. For decades, humanity has asked one of the biggest questions imaginable. Are we alone in the universe? In 2026, the possibility of official alien disclosure continues to capture public attention, driven by advances in space exploration and reports of unidentified anomalous phenomena. While some believe disclosure could happen soon, pointing to increased transparency and public hearings around UAP investigations, there is currently no confirmed evidence that governments possess proof of extraterrestrial life or are preparing a formal announcement. Scientists continue to search for answers through projects studying distant planets, radio signals, and the conditions needed for life beyond Earth. The discovery of microbial life elsewhere would be a historic breakthrough, but a confirmed encounter with intelligent extraterrestrial beings remains highly speculative. So, the probability of major alien disclosure in 2026? Possible, but still considered unlikely by most researchers. The real story may be less about visitors arriving and more about humanity getting closer to answering whether life exists somewhere else among the stars. My name is Matthew. Let's get you back to the music on Canada's #1 folk station, 99.9 FM Perth Andover, and folktupradio.com.